Lance is up there adding water to it right now. So we found the cooling system is low. We don't know how low. I don't see any coming out below it. We checked the oil. Oil level looks good. Oil looks good. So I'm not concerned that the coolant or water went there. I did see what looks like a little bit of a leak at the bottom of the water pump from one of the hoses. But he's going to keep on adding to it. And I'm going to work on getting the stop on it, the electric shutdown, hooked up. So we're gonna hop on that and he's going to keep on filling. Yep, finally got water up to the vent here. And it's not just clear, so there was still some coolant in there. We're not supposed to get below freezing on this trip. We are still adding antifreeze, but we're not going for a 50-50 mix right now, because I have a feeling that once this thing gets back, we're going to be changing out a bunch of these hoses. So, got some fresh green antifreeze. Green
time to talk about
is okay in this because it is a 71 series. What were you going to say?
Good time to talk about pressure systems on these. So when we talk about hoses, they're not really riding any pressure. The most we'll ever have is 3 to 5 pounds.
Yeah, these systems really don't pressurize. They also don't get very hot compared to most vehicles. 190 is pretty warm on one of these. But at least that means this thing wasn't completely empty, because you're less than 3 gallons of water in.
Can you see it going in the side cage yet?
No, I mean, it's going to have to fill the hoses all the way up. You're probably another couple gallons before you get up there. But that is antifreeze going in there. We are putting a couple gallons in there with it just to make sure that we've got some protection, but it shouldn't be below freezing this entire trip. I think last night was going to be the coldest night we were going to hit. And what did it get down to last night?
It froze.
It did freeze last night? Okay. Anyway, I'm working on getting this shutdown hooked up. So I've got a 1/4 bolt with a lock nut. I got to get that tight. And we need to adjust this little arm they've got here on it so that I gotta keep saying emergency shutdown. This is the shutdown solenoid for it.
You want to hand me another antifreeze?
Yes, I will.
And we'll do the rest with water.
There you go. Drop my ratchet. At least we know it's got some antifreeze in it then, though.
Yeah, I was starting to think, I wondered if it had froze and like popped something open, but we'd see it coming out already.
Yeah, it's holding. It's just been leaking somewhere. So I've got the shutdown solenoid here working. Sprayed it with some penetrating oil. I got it freed up so it's returning. I went ahead and soaked all the throttle linkage as well. So hopefully that shouldn't be giving us any issues. Now, I gotta wait for Lance to get some more coolant in it, but I need to crawl through that bay door over there and pull the fuel filters and prime this thing. It has a lost prime. I might just go ahead and pull one of those fuel lines off and prime through the fuel lines too. We'll see. Alright, so we got water up in the sight glass. Looks like it's still going down in there. I'll probably need to add another gallon or so, but it at least tells us we're most of the way up there. Enough that I think we can let it sit until it's time to actually start it. So we're getting the air inlet pipe setup they've got on here off. Want to make sure that there's nothing in there.
Is it coming?
Yeah, let me grab the pry bar. There you go. Okay, well, it had the screen. Let's get in that flashlight and look at the turbo in a second. But I just popped the fuel filters off and they're primed. So that shutoff solenoid is sticking, and I'm thinking that they might have had an issue with it sticking, and that might be what they thought was losing prime. Because I'm guessing that hole right there they put in there so they could spray ether in it. How's the pipe look? I think we probably will start it without that, so we can snuff the engine out if we have to.
Where's the shutoff thing? It's not here. This one doesn't have one.
Unless it's on that intake part right there. Yeah, there's no emergency shutoff on this. So Okay. That hole has been punched into that pipe, not drilled. Oh, it's not even tight?
No.
Well, that explains where all the coolant went. Right where we thought on the bottom of the water pump there. But our concern was if they drilled this, there would be metal shavings in here, so we wanted to take this off to make sure. That's some of the stuff you're going to run into when you put a turbo motor in a non-turbo bus.
I guess, yeah, the metal goes all over there, so it's sealed. It's not
Yeah.
leaking.
Turbo looks decent. I think we've got prime in the filters. We're going to leave the intake off for the first startup, so if anything does happen, we can block the turbo. I'll make sure I get a piece of wood ready to go. I guess we also have a shutoff valve right down there on the fuel filters. The rear start controls work on this, correct?
Don't know.
I'm hoping they do. We're going to try to do a rear start on this if we can. And I think we're getting pretty close to the point where we're going to try that. We're going to sit through here and get our game plan ready for startup. Everyone needs to know what they need to do in case of an emergency. But I think we're about ready to put power to it. Get ready to have Lance go up there and test the throttle in it. Make sure that the throttle linkage is all moving freely. I sprayed everything down back here with penetrating oil. There's some on the front side of the engine. I'll probably spray those up too, just to try to lube them up a little bit. All right, we've got throttle. Okay. Well, now that we know we got working throttle, our shutdown works, we've gone through our, in case of emergency, how we're going to shut the engine down procedures. I guess that's it. It's time to hook the batteries back up and see what it does. Alright, so the rear start controls do not work on this, so we went ahead. St. Lance up front. What? Yep. Okay. Well, I see a little bit of smoke. It's a good sign. Go. Okay. Yep. All right. Yep. I don't want to hit it with ether. Let's keep trying. All right, well, okay. I was hoping we didn't have to do that. Go. Well, I think we're gonna need to charge batteries up on this thing. They were showing 25%, but this thing's been sitting, and this is the first day above freezing I think they've had in a minute here in Ohio. It snowed a few days ago. So I think we're just gonna get the batteries charged up. It's trying to start. It wants to. I can see it smoking. We definitely got fuel. It hit a lick just a little bit when we put some ether to it, but I don't want to feed this thing ether. I want it to do it on its own. So I think we'll get the batteries out and get them charged. Go! Well, still no luck. Went ahead and brought the battery charger over here, rolled the cord through. I just gotta wait. They're bringing a newel in the parking lot here in a second. Once that's through, I can hook the battery chargers back up. So we knew this bus had prime issues before, but it's acting like it's getting fuel. So I went back through again, popped the filters off, made sure that they were primed. They are. I took the feed line off to the fuel pump, manually primed it. I think we should be good. It acts like it's getting fuel. I just don't think that we made much progress charging those batteries at lunch. It's in the low 50s right now, so it is starting to warm up, but I don't think that changes a couple days of 20 and 30 degree weather that they just had. Oh, maybe that newel's not coming right back through the parking lot. And we'll see what they're going to do with that. Anyway, yeah, we just got to see why this thing's not wanting to fire. It acts like it should be, but when you buy these things like this, you don't know what you're getting into. We knew that it was towed here, that it hasn't ran in over a year. They said they had prime issues, but first thing I did when I got here is check the filters beneath, and they were still holding the prime. So we'll just have to see what we got to keep doing here to get it going, but we're hoping we can get it running tonight to at least pull it up to the building, get all the tires aired up, try to give it a good once over. This is Friday. They are closed on Saturday, so we do not have access to their building tomorrow, which, I mean, we've got all of our basic tools, but the battery charger we're using is theirs. We're getting power from in the building. If we need to use compressed air for anything, that's in there. So we're trying to get it ready so that hopefully if we get it fired up tonight, we're hoping to drive it tomorrow back to Tennessee. And this thing's been on the road within the last couple of years. Tires on it are looking decent. It appears to be building air. It was completely aired down when we started cranking on it, trying to get it to start, and we've managed to build like 25 pounds of air cranking it. It's got oil pressure. It's acting like it's getting fuel too. We've hit it with a little bit of ether, and it'll fire right up with it, but it only does it for a second, and I'm never a fan of just feeding ether to stuff. So hopefully we can get this thing convinced to get started up tonight, let it run, get up to temp, top off all the fluids, get the batteries good and charged, and hopefully be good to hit the road tomorrow. Sweet, the newel's back. Means I can plug in the charger finally. Oh, we almost got it. She's running. Forgot, I don't have shutoffs up here. We didn't need no stinking charger. Listen to that thing purr. Tell you, that is a load of stress off my shoulders. Thing sounds amazing. We're gonna make it back to Tennessee with that, no problem. Where's my shutoff tool? So that shutoff solenoid isn't working, and I hate reaching through the belts. Yeah, I'm not reaching through the belts, but it runs. Damn, that thing sounds sweet. Sorry I wasn't back here to catch that, but I knew she'd run. I had faith. Let's go shut the key off. I don't want to run it any longer right now till Lance gets back. Guess what? We don't need it, buddy. What do you think about that?
was it?
I don't know. I took everything apart. It was still primed. The only thing I did was dump about a quart of diesel down the line that feeds into the fuel pump. I cranked it a little bit and it started sputtering a lot harder. Sounded like she was going to take off. How do the gauges look?
90 pounds.
We're up to 90?
Yep.
It was at 30. Well, this video is going for 2 minutes, so it's been running for about 2 minutes. I wouldn't give it any throttle quite yet. Let's let it warm up and run at idle for a little bit first.
We can pull up to there if we want and put air if we need air on it.
Well, we're going to need air up tires. They will be here tomorrow? Well, about half my stress went away when this started. The rest of it just went away when you said that. Buddy, I think we're going to be driving this thing tomorrow.
It's at 80 pounds. It's sitting at 80.
Well, let's let it come up and see what it does. I want to let it idle for a little bit and get to running before we go give it some throttle. We're still going to have to top off fluids again. I'd love to put the battery on a charger tomorrow before we run it.
Let's see if the lights work. We can pull it up there and charge it overnight.
Well, I don't want to let it charge when we're not here. This thing's already caught on fire once. I'm not going to attempt that again. Lights? That's what I was thinking. We don't have the 12-volt system hooked up right now. Yeah. Your taillights are working though. Which, I don't plan on driving this in the dark, and I know you don't either, so headlights aren't going to be the end of the world right this minute.
That wheel?
Yeah, go ahead. Power steering work?
Yeah, but it's low. How much further?
A little bit. A little more. You're good. Let's go back and take a look at it. She sounds sweet. Nice and smooth. Had an air leak. We found this mess. This is a plugged off line which should be going to the air seat. So got a compression fitting and a cap here. We're going to cap that air line. It doesn't need to be leaking. Doesn't need anything for the air seat because this isn't actually using that. So we're just going to take that line back right there, cap it off to fix the leak. And then we're going to go to the back, get a few things put together a little more permanently. Then we'll try to actually start this thing up and move it. Well, that airline broke like 3 different times trying to cap it, so I had to get the spare tire out, but this front bar was a little bent up, so I had to remove the front of the tire carrier. Now, just gotta see where that airline is, and then get it capped. Hopefully, somewhere down here. And find a good section of line, or trace it back to where it goes. I'm really not too picky on that one. Threw 5 gallons of fresh diesel in there. We looked in the tank and it's a little low. We also threw a little bit of the diesel clear in there just in case we have any biological growth. This thing's had this fuel in there for a while, and that tends to be an issue on a few of your buses, so preemptively we'll just go ahead and do that. I think now we're going to get the doors closed up. We've got that air leak up front taken care of. Put the air intake back on the bus. So we're running through the air cleaner now. The wind's gonna pick up, someone's gonna complain about that. But yeah, air intake tube, the temporary one, it's back on, except this time that actually will be temporary. We'll actually get that thing swapped out and fixed up. So we're gonna get some tools picked up, and I think it's time to fire this thing up, and yeah, we'll move it up closer to the building. All right, I think we're gonna try to start this thing and get it moving. I think that makes us pretty good success for the day. It starts, it moves, turns, stops. We even got the headlights working. I don't know what we did, but they work now. So, we've got another list of things we're going to go through tomorrow. If all that checks out, then I think we're going to hit the road with this thing. I doubt we'll make it all the way back to Nashville tomorrow. We'll probably continue over till Sunday. Close that window up. But, yeah, it's going pretty good. We're really happy with what we've been seeing so far on this thing.